Thorpe Park. Today, it's one of the United Kingdom's most thrilling destinations, a place of towering roller coasters, heart-pounding drops, and unforgettable adventures. But this island of adrenaline has a surprisingly humble beginning. Before the screams and the excitement, before the queues and the coasters, there were gravel pits. This is the story of how a scarred industrial landscape was transformed into one of Britain's first purpose-built theme parks, and how it grew into the modern giant we know today. Welcome to the history of Thorpe Park. Our story begins in the 1960s, in the floodplain of the River Thames, near Chertsey and Egham in Surrey. The land here was owned by Ready Mixed Concrete, better known as RMC. Their business was gravel, and this corner of Surrey was perfect for it. Huge swathes of the land were dug, scooped and quarried away, leaving behind vast pits and a scarred, barren landscape. As extraction went on, many pits began to flood naturally, forming lakes. Planning rules of the time were simple. When the digging ended, the land should be refilled and restored, often for agriculture. But filling hundreds of acres of deep pits would take decades. With endless lorries and endless disruption for the local community, clearly another solution was needed. By the early 1970s, RMC proposed something bold. Instead of refilling the pits, why not keep the lakes and turn them into a destination? A leisure park set across 500 acres of water and islands. A place that would celebrate Britain's rich maritime history. In 1971, planning conditions were officially changed. The lakes could stay, and so the idea of a water-based leisure park was born, an idea that would set Thorpe Park apart from every amusement park before it. Thorpe Park was not a seaside pier filled with rides, nor a fairground of temporary attractions. It was designed, built, and landscaped with care. A purpose-built park rising out of the water. The first structures included the Dome, an iconic exhibition space, along with model villages, gardens, and pavilions. The focus wasn't thrills, it was education. Visitors could learn about history, culture, and science, all while exploring beautifully landscaped islands. This was Britain's first purpose-built modern theme park. On the 24th of May, 1979, Thorpe Park opened its gates to the public. The ceremony was led by Lord Louis Mountbatten, a fitting mark of prestige for this new concept. Guests discovered Model World with its intricate miniature scenes. They wandered through exhibitions inside the dome. They enjoyed boat rides across the lakes, gardens, and attractions designed to both entertain and educate. Thorpe Park's hook was clear: learning through leisure. But soon the park began to change. Families enjoyed the exhibitions, but to thrive, Thorpe Park needed repeat visits. And so, in the early 1980s, rides began to appear. In 1984, the park's very first roller coaster arrived, Space Station Zero. It was a turning point. The balance shifted from exhibitions to experiences. The thrill era had begun. Through the late 1980s and into the 1990s, Thorpe Park grew rapidly. Thunder River, a whitewater rapids ride, arrived in 1987. Loggers Leap, Britain's tallest log flume, opened in 1989. Then, in 1996, the world's first backwards roller coaster in complete darkness, X No Way Out. The park was becoming less about education and more about adrenaline. It was no longer just a leisure park, it was transforming into a thrill park. In 1998, RMC sold Thorpe Park to the Two Swords Group. The change in ownership brought investment, and with it, a bold new strategy. Two Swords transformed Thorpe Park into a thrill-seeker's paradise. Colossus opened in 2002, the world's first 10-inversion roller coaster. Nemesis Inferno followed in 2003. Then came Stealth in 2006, Europe's tallest and fastest roller coaster at the time. In 2007, Tussauds itself was acquired by Merlin Entertainments, and Thorpe Park became part of one of the world's largest attraction operators. Under Merlin, investment continued, and the park's place as the UK's thrill capital was cemented. Thorpe Park now leaned fully into its identity. The slogan was bold, an island like no other. From the twisted terror of Saw, the ride in 2009, to the apocalyptic flight of the Swarm in 2012, and the mind-bending Derren Brown's Ghost Train in 2016, Thorpe Park became synonymous with extreme thrills and headline-making rides. The focus was no longer education, but raw adrenaline. In 2024, Thorpe Park unveiled its most ambitious project yet, Hyperia. At over 200 feet tall, it is the tallest and fastest roller coaster in the United Kingdom. A gleaming steel giant, Hyperia represents the latest chapter in Thorpe Park's remarkable transformation. From pits of gravel to pits of the stomach, Thorpe Park has never stopped evolving. And so the journey comes full circle, from a scarred industrial floodplain to an educational leisure park, to one of Europe's most thrilling attractions. Thorpe Park's story is one of vision, reinvention, and the power of imagination. It began with education as its hook. Today it lives on as an island like no other.